So now we're going to show an example of the do-while loop.
Yes.
So a do-while loop is very similar to a while loop, but it will naturally run through the loop once and then continue through the loop while some condition exists.
Yes, so if you're going to have a situation where the loop has to run at least once, the do-while loop might be for you.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to show you how this works.
Okay, so let's define a boolean and an integer.
That sounds good to me. So we'll do bool a equals true.
Sure.
True. And then int b
Equals 0.
equals 0.
Alright. So now what we'll do is we'll do the following.
Do, and then we got to do open block, close block, and
While, and we'll say
end it with the semicolon.
Definitely end it with a semicolon.
This is the basic structure of a do-while loop, and this is pretty much the same with about any programming language that you use. Alright, so let me uncheck these lines here.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll increment b by 1.
Inside the do-while loop?
Yep.
So right here?
Yep.
b plus plus?
Yep. And after you increment, we'll output b, cout b, and
Okay.
right before we increment b, we'll say if b is less than 10, and then on the next line we'll say a is equal to false. Let me change that to if so long as b is greater than 10. So this will keep incrementing b up until it hits 10. When it hits 10, a becomes false.
That is not true. When it hits 11, a
Correct.
becomes false.
Touche.
Because it's not including 10, it's if it's greater than 10, which would be 10.1 or higher.
Right.
Yes.
Or yes. So now the while condition, we're going to check to make sure a is true.
This line right here.
Right. So long as a is true, we're going to keep running through this loop.
We can actually write this, while a.
Yes.
Instead of writing while a equals true, we can write while a. So this is basically saying while true, while true, while true, while true.
Right.
So if it's false, we can actually do the opposite here. If we could do while not a,
Right.
which we're saying if it's not true.
Right.
But see, now we're going to check to see while this condition is true, rock and roll. So let's predict the output before we run this real quick. Let's start from the do, and we'll go all the way down to the while. I just like using the red highlighter.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. So let's start with this block of code. Brian, talk to me from the top.
Okay, so we'll start out, a is true, b is 0. So we'll run through this once. Is b greater than 10? No, it's not. Skip that line, increment b. b is now 1. We'll output b, and since a is still true, we'll do it again. And so now b is 1. It's not greater than 10. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Now let's say b is 11.
B is now 11.
so
Print out
now-
11.
Print out right.
Check
We'll-
to see if it's true.
Right, so which it still is at this point. It has to go through again, see that it's 11, switch it to false.
You're right. And then it'll check to see if it's 11. So what is the last number that will output? It'll be 12. Increment it.
Right.
We print it out, and then we exit. So now we'll do while. Let's make a dash in between those so it doesn't look like it says dwal. 12! Yay!
All right.
Yes!
So if we wanted it to stop at 11, we could say if a is equal to false, and then after that we'll say else b++.
Else,
And then we'll block the rest of the code.
yeah. So we'll do block, space these over for prettiness. Oops. There. So now it'll end at 11.
Ta-da!